Good day. I wanted to jump into some Star Citizen here. I promised some more content was coming. I had some issues in getting this one shot, which we'll talk about while this plays through, but I wanted to show kind of what the functionality was as a casual player still. That's the whole point of my channel usually. And so, mining. I bought the Prospector. I loved mining in the past. Had some issues, but it was so fun. Then it got terrible. Then it was pointless and broken. And then I stopped playing the game for like 2 years. So, is mining playable? And how does it function? So, we jumped in. I started this video in 3.22. Unfortunately, my first attempt at mining, they changed how some of the scanning works, and I lost a distance readout to an asteroid, and with upgrades to shaders and things, the asteroid looked a little bit farther away than it was, so I plowed into it and blew up. 3.23 dropped, so let's try again. I had the same problem, except I managed to dodge some of it, blew off my port thruster in the front, destroyed the 2 port saddlebags, limped back to Orizon, and repaired to rinse repeat. Try number 3 is what we are showing here. So it takes about 3.5 minutes if everything's working properly. You can see some of the glitches with doors, some of the shuttles that kind of teleport in and out and all that stuff. All of that kind of comes and goes over the course of the time frame. And it's a bit frustrating, but it's functional. The game's playable. But it does take about 3.5 minutes to get from your bed all the way to the hangar and all that stuff. I wish I didn't have to go to the ship spawn tools here. I wish I could just get to an elevator and jump out to my hangar, because I can spawn ships in my hangar, so why make me do it here? Anyway, go figure. So, mining. The purpose of the Prospector is to be able to go out, scan a bunch of different areas, find the veins of good stuff, collect some samples, go back, hawk it, sell them knowledge of where the items are, things like that. That was kind of the original sale of the Prospector. It was also supposed to be able to sift through. There was a secondary seat in the back in the past where you could sift out the junk and only carry the good stuff. I kind of missed that, wish it was back. But overall, the Prospector has a pretty small amount of storage capacity at 32 SCU, which really isn't all that much. And honestly, when you see me collect some of my load in my Freelancer, which has 66 SCU of storage, maybe it's not SCU, I might be using the wrong terminology, but anyway, it's got 66 storage capacity in cargo, it doesn't make sense because I'm dropping off a full load of 32 in saddlebags, and I'm hauling out more than half of my Freelancer's available space in the back. That doesn't quite seem right. Anyway, with the Prospector, I wanted to hit up a few of my old haunts. So the first place I wanted to go was Yela, but unfortunately on the server I was in, it wouldn't do the nav map routing, so I kind of had to do it manually, and then head out here. I do love that they've added some of the salvage, at least materials into the game, so you may run across a grouping of like 5, 6, 7 different items, and it's really just a blown apart ship to salvage or material like that. I think that's kind of cool. It's fun to see. It does make it a little more of a challenge, but it's nice. What I don't like about mining is when I'm scanning here, you can't really target things from a distance to figure out what it is, to even tell you if you want to go investigate it. That's what I understood scanning mode, and the whole scanning computer up there on the MFD at the top right of the center screen. So instead, to really find out what's there, I basically have to fly all the way up to the item, switch into mining mode, and let the mining scan laser find the actual details. I tried using scanning mode from a distance, from a reasonable distance. It would tell me it's an asteroid, but it wouldn't really give me anything functional, so I still had to go all the way up, approach the asteroid, figure it out, and then bugger off somewhere else. That's annoying, so I hope scanning gets a bit of a fix. I also wish that the disbursement of materials was a little better. This is a ring around the planet. In looking at a ring system, they do move around, totally understandable, but I still think certain groupings of types of materials should be there. So if you find a great vein of asteroids that are orbiting the planet, then you should be able to drop a marker, keep the location for yourself, in some way mark it so that you can come back, hit that stuff up, and grab all that you want and go sell it and come back and get more. As it stands now, everything kind of despawns, respawns, resets, and it's kind of hard to really find a good grouping of items that you may want to salvage. So you can see I was investigating the, not salvage, but mine. I was investigating the salvage items here because I'd never seen them in game before I went off to mine. Now, I ended up finding an asteroid here, or a little grouping of asteroids, that was really good because it was all titanium. Unfortunately, at the Lagrange point here for the Dream Station, titanium is kind of a negative output, but it's still good enough to make some decent money. I'm going to talk a little bit about the economy, but keep in mind the economy is completely fluctuating. It's going to change. It already has changed in 4, and it'll probably change multiple times again because they still have some balance and tweaks. But in mining itself, you can target the items you want. You can break the asteroid down and find little pockets of 100% and really try to get your ship full of solid, good, usable material. Now, mining itself is similar to what it was in the past, but I find it a lot more nuanced and a lot more fun. Now, I have a crappy basic stock laser, and I still managed to turn out some good results. There were a lot of asteroids I couldn't touch because they were just too big, too strong. But I was able to find plenty of good enough asteroids that I could turn a profit and get enough money to replace my laser. I didn't do it because I knew ultimately there's no point with 4.0 around the corner. I didn't want to waste time on that. I wanted to play the game and kind of see how things came together. I felt that charging, overcharging, and all of that was a lot better in this. You could be a lot more nuanced with your laser depending on the material, depending on the rocks. You could see this one, the green area, got a little thinner. Some of them break apart so you can collect them. Others require you to break them apart again. Similar to the way it was before, but it's a little easier to kind of figure out what's going on, and you have a lot more finesse that's required on certain rocks. I had a rock that at like 30% once, it charged up super fast, and I almost blew it up. Another one, it was a super small rock, but it was like harder than diamond, and it took forever at 100% to charge up. There's some details in the right side information scan that it can tell you kind of why some of that is, but either way, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed on the left side having distance options, the optimal distance, as well as it giving you readouts of your speed and transit and all of that. So I do enjoy mining. I think mining has come a long way, and it's a great way to earn a profit. Later on, we'll talk a bit more about mining on the surface and other stuff because not everybody's going to have a prospector out the gate. But I think there is some options here to have some ways to create some fun gameplay. Like if a friend buys a cargo hauling ship and you buy a ship for mining or something like that, then you might be able to work together to kind of haul back and forth and split the proceeds. In my situation, I have a prospector and I have a freelancer, so I would go out and prospect for 5, 6, 7, 8 asteroids, go drop all of it off at the refinery, and then log out for the day. That'd give me an hour and a half of gameplay that was fun, enjoyable. And then I would go back in my freelancer and do a couple cargo runs. Or I would just get lazy and pull out my Carrack and haul everything back in one go. But hey, I have that luxury. But it was really enjoyable to see the way things worked, functioned, looked, all that good stuff. So I think they've done a good job in fixing it and getting things working again. Now, let's jump out to the Lagrange point and take a look at what we're actually dealing with now. I do like how it's a decent distance out there, but you can see in this session I still had some issues getting the map to work, so I had to find it manually and then go out there. I also kind of had to jump closer to it so that I could see it, which was really frustrating. Now, I've never been to this specific station, so this was a new experience to me, and I absolutely loved it. It's in this nebula, dust cloud, asteroid cloud, whatever it is. It is so fun and awesome to be here. I actually ended up doing a whole bunch of mining out here And in just a second, I'll talk more about it. But oh my gosh, it was so fun to be out here because you fly into the cloud, you can send a ping out, you see tons of asteroids that you can't physically see because they're hidden in the clouds. And it just gets really creepy. And it was so fun to come out here. And you can find a lot of rocks that you don't actually have to mine. Now, there are some bugs. I did push N to lower my landing gear. But unfortunately, it didn't lower my landing gear, so yeah, I kind of flew in at full top speed and air brakes didn't work. So we took a mulligan, redid everything, and came back out here with a new load of cargo to drop off. Unfortunately, that was a huge waste of time and very frustrating, and that's why you could see I went to external view to verify that my landing gear went down, because I did push N, but my gear didn't drop. I'm also a bit ashamed to say that as my first time out at this station, it took me entirely way too long to find the flippin' refinery. First, I couldn't find the call button on the elevator because I was getting sick and I'm an absolute idiot, and I didn't bother looking down. I was looking at the door, and from where I was looking, I couldn't see the F and I couldn't see the screen, so that was annoying. And then I roamed around the station forever, trying to find it, and again, being sick and dumb. But I did eventually find it by just sticking to the right wall around the main area here, and yeah, now I know the station quite well. So, in the refinery, you can just hawk your your material straight to the refinery and let them sort it out, but you're going to take a pretty decent cut in your profit. Now, this may adjust a bit with the economy changes, but honestly, it's better just to drop it off at the refinery. With this specific one, we'll see what I earned later. I think the refinery was offering me something like 30,000 or 20,000, something like that, which is a pretty good profit, at least in this economy. I don't like the artificial capacity of the refinery because I don't think anything can run at 30,000% of capacity. I don't think that's a thing. But if they just want to slow down the time it takes to refine certain materials, then just add to the time. Don't just create some stupid capacity number because I don't think that's realistic. Anyway, here's where you can hawk your goods off to them, and see, I was going to make 35,000 off of this. I ended up making double or triple that by refining it, which was fantastic. It's a great way to earn some money. I hope they keep things balanced. I know they're reducing the value of a lot of things because a lot of the purpose in the test realm here is just to, hey, make sure the gameplay works. Hey, earn stuff so you can buy ships and equipment and all that stuff. And I would have, if I'd had more time, upgraded my lasers. I may have had to upgrade the power plant and things like that. It's a lot you need to consider. But it was worthwhile going in here and enjoying this. I looked at a couple of the different refinement options, but ultimately I stuck with the Dynix Solvanite or whatever it is. I think it's the best option. It does take a long time, but it is good. I was having some bugs here where it wasn't registering certain things, and then, yeah. Anyway, we got it submitted into the system. So we're off to the races, and it's counting up my goods, and in 25 hours, i.e. tomorrow, well, hey, we'll get to see what I earned off of this. All right, so let's jump in the Freelancer now and head out to go collect it. Now, I used to really like the Freelancer, but they really, in this flight model, dumbed it down. It's like flying a couch now. It used to be reasonably maneuverable. It was kind of billed as almost a pseudo-Millennium Falcon because it was supposed to be fast, it was supposed to be decently maneuverable, and it was supposed to pack a punch if it hit you with its higher-sized guns on the main cannon, plus it had a little mini turret and some missiles. So this was supposed to be a decent ship, but now it flies like a potato and is kind of crap. But it's still one of my favorite ships. I love the look. I think the cockpit view should be better, but hey, whatever. So here's one of the other issues. From within the ship, you can't open the airlock. It's broken. I can get the option to open the ladder, but because the airlock is closed, I can't do it. So either I go out the cargo deck or I sit in the cockpit, And from the cockpit, I have to say open all outer doors, then I can get out, but then I've left all my outer doors open. It's really kind of dumb. So yeah, good job. Apparently you can't open the airlock now. So I did have some issues in getting some of the cargo out, but as you can see, I've got multiple runs of mining being refined at the moment. So for this first one, we're going to grab the one that was sitting here at 25 hours a moment ago, and we're going to take that back and do the auto unload function, and we're going to see kind of what we earn credit-wise. It's going to be a good amount. I'm not going to speak to it because the economy's already changed. But then we'll come back and pick up some of the other loads, and we'll look at trying to unload it, as I said, with the tractor beam, gravity gun, whatever they want to call it. All right, so we've got the cargo loaded up here, as you can see. This isn't the run that caused me the most problems, but we will take a look at that when I get the Quantanium load back. This first one I'm going to sell and do the auto unload function, which is great. So here we are, we get down, we run over, we've come all the way back. We're ready to go do trading. We get here and bonk, hard server freeze, right when I tried to open the doors. Now it was weird because the server chat was still functioning. People were joining the server, but it was hard frozen. It never recovered, so I had to quit out, respawn, come back in, and come all the way back over. And then we can get the doors to open, and we can come in and take a look at selling stuff at the terminal. Nice little stock exchange room. Again, I don't see why this can't be closer to the pads, but hey. Now there is a bug in here where occasionally it won't recognize what ship you are. So in one of my runs, I brought it in my Freelancer, but I had to select my Carrack from the system before it would find my actual material, which was kind of weird. It is also nice that you can select the individual items now because it's individually cargo wrapped in your ship. You can select the quantity of it and then you can sell it. So you can see this first item's worth 38,500. The total amount of selling all of my raw material was 35K, I think, at the refinery, but this one item netted me more than that. So you can see what the value is. I'm going to process it, have it auto unloaded. Not every item, again, is going to be worth a lot. It also comes down to the marketplace in each individual area. Unfortunately, what I used to do with my Freelancer, buying a bunch of medical supplies and stuff at Port Olisar and then flying that out to the Shubin mining facility and then going back and forth, isn't really a thing anymore because they've basically made it so you can't buy goods because nothing's ever in stock unless you happen to get a fresh server refresh. They want you running the cargo missions and stuff like that, which kind of sucks. So titanium, I didn't have a ton, but really not worth a lot on this one. So hey, great. Unloading it's going to eat a chunk of my profit, but whatever. I had thought about going back and unloading it myself, but I figured this is pointless. We'll just do it myself next time. And again, the refinery, aluminum, titanium, not Bexolite. There's another B one. No, it is Bexolite. Beryl is the good one. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of them that you can have a lot of it, and they just don't do a good job with the refinement. The production is slower or not as high quality, and some of these items just aren't as sought after. So I do enjoy that part of the marketplace. It means you can, if you have the time and you really want to crank out the cash, you can do some research trying to figure out what is priced at every location, though I wish you could do this in-game before you go out and do all this stuff and try to hawk it. You can see Beryl there making me 42,000. So all in, I made about 70 to 80,000 off of this one run alone. Again, take that with a grain of salt. This economy's changing. Things are going to come down in value and all that stuff, so whatever. But this was a good run. Now, jumping back out to the refinery, let's take a look at some of my other items. I mentioned the Quantanium and some of the other stuff. I'm going to come back to this in another video, but let's load up the ship, and then we'll talk a little bit about doing some of the cargo and some of the issues that I'm going to have with a couple of these ships. The Carrack as well, simply by design at the moment, because it's still not a fully functional ship. I know some of that's coming soon, but it's still not a fully functional ship, so I've already shot everything. I just need to drop in the timeline, speed up the playback, and then we'll have a chit chat about some of my issues. It's not going to be anywhere near as long as this, but this one was just kind of me doing the mining, going out grabbing stuff, and then when we come back, we'll pick up these 2 work orders and we'll go from there. Thank you for watching.